And good morning to you and welcome. We have a great one here for you today. In case you haven't checked out my series, check out the whole series over my Self Recruiter YouTube channel, John Crant. Hi, welcome. Today is 12 best practices to earn your next promotion. You know, we'd all like to have that next promotion. We'd like to, you know what we'd really like? We'd like to just do an amazing job and then they'll just award us this wonderful new salary level, promotion, everything else. But it doesn't tend to work that way. When we do an amazing job, they tend to go, oh, amazing job. Let's give that some food and water, keep it where it is, don't touch it, let it keep producing. And we don't necessarily get what we want unless we go after it. So here are the 12 best practices to earn your next promotion. It's a little tiny bit of how you chameleon your way to be that really next individual. I'm going to adjust my camera ever so slightly in the studio. Better. Hopefully you like that better as well. This is part of the Self Recruiter series. Check out the whole series. We cover resume, LinkedIn, interviewing, how to structure the job search, how to negotiate, how to supercharge that job search when it is not working. So much of becoming a self-recruiter, this one great recruiter that looks after one great candidate, which is you, that's really about networking, but it's also keeping one eye on that toughest competitor imaginable. And boy, doesn't that play into how we get our next promotion. So the question of the day is, how do we earn our next promotion? Well, let's take you right into it. I like to give answers right up front. So many of my lectures have the answers right up front. Here you go. Let's keep some lists. Let's do great work. Let's help others. Let's take on more responsibility. Let's get the credit for that. And let's not also forget to look at what are the best people doing. And I sure hope you're doing that as well. You have to be seen that way. Well, now that you have the answers, if it was really only that easy. So welcome again. If you haven't seen me before, John Crant, author, career coach, and speaker. Resume and LinkedIn guru as well. So if you are suffering like most people in their career and in job search with bad storytelling across your resume, across your LinkedIn profile, work with someone that can help you see with clarity the value of your story and how to position it in a very different way than we can typically do for ourselves because we're so emotionally wrapped up over that journey we experienced. A little bit about my background. You should know everything about someone's background or most things about someone's background. If they're giving you advice, that's how you parse the information to understand how to use certain pieces of it or other pieces I may not want to use. So where does my advice come from? It comes from 3 different disciplines on a desk as a recruiter. That's a traditional headhunter that had to go into the competitor company, find that superstar, lure them out. Ended up being the national trainer across the 100 office recruiting system and VP over that whole system before moving out to do what I do now, which is really helping clients reinvent their career story across their resume, across their LinkedIn profile, in their interviews and how they present themselves, really every aspect of career brand management. A few things that will help you besides today's lecture over my LinkedIn. There's some different articles you can click through that will help you as well. And all of it, when you're thinking of it, is going to leave you in some pretty unhappy places. Now, in my in-person lectures, I would ask my audiences, I'd put this up there and this is where we're starting. And people go, that's not very uplifting. No. Or here, not very uplifting. But it is part of reality and we have to start here. And even when we're looking for the next promotion, some of these things are plaguing us, even though we go, I should be promoted, but I still feel some of these things. We have to deal with all of that. So whatever it is holding you back, yes, make some adjustments, do some corrections, everything else, but also then let go of it, get over it. It is dragging you down and holding you back like a weight. So this is partially how we're going to chameleon our way into that next new role and naturally get them to see us that way. Now, as you start looking at that next role that you want, that promotion that you're after, very natural places. Who's the competitor? Who's the competitor? How can I outmaneuver the competitor? And that is a piece of the view, but you also have to have a slightly larger view because you have to not only compete against those cookie cutter perfect individuals, but you somehow have to be different, exceptional, and special. And you can do that across your resume, across your LinkedIn profile, and really how you engage them about walking them through your career story. A little bit of a spot on my glasses, which I It's going to bug me all lecture if I don't just take care of it. Let me just take care of that. And nope, I normally don't use tissue on the glasses. Develop a strong work ethic. Now, I grew up in small business. My folks were in the souvenir business, T-shirts, moccasins, back scratchers, 5-time market. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for getting us through school, all those kind of things. But in that kind of a small business, what you learn is work ethic. The whole family's everything is on the line. Working in the store from about 8 years old, working on the cash register from about 11 o'clock or 8 years old. And my gosh, it's all right there. You have to make the sale. You have to engage the customer. You have to develop a strong work ethic. Now, years later in other businesses, while I was training other employees when I was no longer a child, I carried this through. And last year, I had a very unique opportunity to run back down to Florida. I had to go down and retrieve something very, very large, a family heirloom that could only be retrieved in person. And I got a chance to meet some of those folks that had worked for me 25, 30 years ago. And 2 of them were right to this piece. They're like, so thank you for teaching us what work really is. It's really dazzled everybody in our career that, wow, these 2 know how to work. When you bring a strong work ethic, it gets noticed. So that's commitment to our job. That's being seen as that valuable asset. That's being reliable. That's being responsible. It's about making all of those extra efforts naturally without being asked. That's the person they think of for the promotion. That's your first step. Next step, all best practices. We need to embody these things. We need to develop our skills. Now, of course, if we'd like the promotion, I sure hope your skills are where they are, or where they should be, is what I should say. But luck is part of life too. So you may have at some point in your career gotten lucky to be promoted into some role where you didn't fully possess the skills. So probably had much of the background, but didn't really have all the skills. And there's 2 types of people that happens to. The ones that then build walls and fortresses to hide and protect themselves within their department, shielding from others what they do not know, which to me is just plain silliness. Or the other type of people that probably have strong work ethic that throw themselves into what they don't know, to learn it, to become that expert, to develop those skills. So I sure hope that you're open to learning new things, or you're not really going to develop those skills. I hope that you're attending different training sessions. I hope that you're seeking out other opportunities, all the different ways to be proactive. Of course, we're going to have to go get that feedback as well. And we have to not be needy while we get that feedback. The point of the feedback is to course correct, not so they can go, amazing. Yeah, I'd like them to do an amazing here and there. That'd be nice. Little one. Number 3, build strong relationships. These will serve you well. Now, I just had a client go through a very interesting scenario in their work, and they were looking to expand their team, and suddenly someone that's a peer to them suddenly was trying to hire below them the same function that should be below my client. Now, that function belongs in my client's vertical, not in their peers hiring their own resource. And so they had a little bit of a tug of war, and it came down to strong relationships. The people involved really thought, I can just do whatever I'd like. I can hire this, I can hire that, I can get my own resources, do whatever I'd like, because they really misjudged my client and their strength because they're soft-spoken. And they thought, I can just walk all over this person. And when they objected, that was astounding at first. And then what they did behind the scenes is leveraged the very strong relationships they built to overturn this travesty. And of course, now that person is being hired below my client. So strong relationships can do a lot for us. It's not about being the bull in the china shop. It's about making everybody your evangelist. Who would get up there and speak your praises, defend you, champion you? So I sure hope that you're respectful and supportive and collaborative, because that builds those relationships. And out of that, you're going to build the trust, rapport, and harmony that hopefully will serve you well throughout your career. Of course, it's going to get you to the next promotion as well. Next thing we can do to get our next promotion is take initiative. There was one point in my career. Now, I work for myself now, but I've worked for many other people doing many, many things over the course of my career. And at one point, I was being promoted every 4 to 5 months. It's like, could you slow down? I'm getting chest pains here. I'm like, I needed the money, but Responsibility, because I take my responsibility seriously. I grew up in small business. It's all on the line. So if you give me more responsibility, I feel the weight of that. And boy, I was in my 20s having chest pains going, take initiative. My take on taking initiative is really never saying no. When the first thing out of my mouth, which probably comes from the customer service growing up in small business, is yes. Who can do this? Who can do this? Can you do this? Yes. Well, first thing is, can I really do it? Is there something blocking it? If not, it's always yes. It's always yes. It's always yes. And then I'll figure out how to do it. Now, at the point I was being promoted all the time, I had a full plate full of challenges. And they said, can you take one more? Yes. Wow, amazing. And was I fooling these folks? Of course not. Of course not. I was barely holding on, but what I was producing and what I was causing to have happen in the organization and in that individual location was amazing. And they could see it, they knew it, and they kept putting another one on my plate and kept promoting me a little bit more. And so volunteer for projects. What are you waiting for? Someone else to volunteer for that project? Why aren't you volunteering for it? Why aren't you taking on leadership roles right now? Well, they're not going to pay me. Well, they're not going to pay me. Why don't you do it first and then ask for the money? So take on those leadership roles, assist your colleagues, look for a way really always to go above and beyond. How can you be the glue that somehow fills in all the gaps that are missing in the collaboration and makes this a success? Take initiative, be a standout really easily. Next thing that we can do, best practice, is be results oriented. I think of so many scenarios. I have so many clients that talk to me about all their different issues going on. I have another client and they're engaging with one of their peers. And we were just having a conversation the other day that this peer is about to pass the 1-year anniversary mark of launching a major project. Not that major of a project, a major project that needed a little bit of work around the project. I don't want to give you too much detail. And it was supposed to be completed last fall. Well, I tell you what, in case, I don't know when you're watching this, this is April. This is not last fall. It is still not complete. And of course, the contracts run out and now they have to pay more and all sorts of things. That's not being results oriented. Being results oriented is to think about the result, work backward. As a project manager, and you won't be successful in your career without learning project management skills and being effective at it. You have to start at the end result and work backwards, develop the timeline, develop the benchmarks. All of these metrics help you become results oriented. So set those goals, achieve those goals, and you better be tracking that progress. Otherwise, it's really just nonsense. Communicate effectively. I get to hear so many interesting things through my clients, and a peer of one of my clients just moved into a new role which gives them authority over the projects that they once had to battle for and fight for. And in the latest meeting, they came to the meeting as the client and they said, I want to see. Ooh, I love that powerful words and very effective. I want to see, like a light switch was actually the rest of the sentence, on July 1st. Boom. And we flipped the switch on this project. That means a lot of project management has to happen. Those expectations were set so clearly and quickly with that engaging statement up front of it. Wasn't said in a threatening way. So yeah, articulate your ideas. Make sure that people are listening. You need to listen actively to others too, because all sorts of issues are between those words and you can get to them before those issues flower into something that has to be dealt with. You got to be open to constructive criticism at the same time, because that is part of how you self-improve at all times. You're not all-knowing, but you do maybe have to set the direction, which means you have to course correct if necessary. And you're going to have to adapt that communication style if necessary. It's not always just your style. Next thing that we can do, best practice to get our next promotion, is to embody and demonstrate leadership. What are we waiting for? Now, most people that I talk to in their career are waiting for the promotion or the raise or everything else, or, oh, why should I take on this extra? That extra seems like a wonderful spotlight to be seen in. And then after I take on that extra, I can go grab the raise that I deserve. Great lecture coming up on how to get that raise you deserve. So be on the lookout probably next week for that one. This one's really about how to get the promotion. And so we need to embody and demonstrate that leadership. You don't need permission. I usually talk about the fact that every time I've worked for someone else throughout my career, of course, there's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of job description. That is a starter idea for what you'd like me to do. You hired me for my brain, for my problem solving, for my business acumen, for my engagement of whoever you need to have me engage. That's what you hired me for, and my leadership. So I don't need someone else's permission. My 8.5 by 11 sheet of job description is a starter idea. That's the brain up here is what you hired me for, and that's going to take charge. So I'm going to take charge when needed. I don't have to be the bull in the china shop. I'm going to be the role model without necessarily, jamming stuff down my team's throat or those kinds of things. I'm here to motivate and inspire people so they go, oh, maybe I should be more like that. Yes, I think so too. It also means you have to make difficult decisions sometimes, and you have to take responsibility. Now, boy, on this one, I think about a very high up the pyramid leader that I'm not working directly with, but I'm working with several people around them. And so I have a very clear view of what's going on in this leadership. And this is a person in a senior leadership role making beaucoup bucks. And this is a person that can't make a decision. Everything is by team. What do you think? What do you guys want? What do you think we need to do? It's like, gosh, I wish there was a little bit of direction from above and taking that responsibility for those decisions afterward. Getting your next promotion, all the best practices. Be adaptable. Now, you can guess I have very rigid, strong ideas and views. Absolutely. But it all comes from not emotion. It comes from the logical chess game of figuring out how it all works. That also means we're going to easily be adaptable when I realize I need to be. That means I have to be an individual that can handle change, because I'm going to have to be adaptable, even though I may have a certain style. I'm going to have to be open to these new ideas. I'm going to have to learn from my mistakes. Did you hear that part? If we're not making mistakes, you're not learning. If you're not failing, you're not growing. You must make a mistake. You must fail. That is the only way we really become an expert at whatever it is that we're going to do. You're going to have to work effectively with all sorts of different personalities. And if you can't figure out how to make it work, you're going to have to change your approach, because there's a way to solve everything. There's a way to make it work, but you've got to ultimately be that adapter, not just the demander, the decider. Getting our next promotion, lifelong learning. Quality you must have if you're going to be seen as promotion material. That means a thirst, a desire. Now, I use this phrase all the time because I do a lot of different lectures for the New York Public Library. And of course, lifelong learning is a very, very good thing for the library. The library likes to talk about that and all that kind of stuff. But if we're not focused on this like breathing, this has to be part of, like, I don't forget to breathe every day. I don't forget, right? So that means I have to take advantage of different training like breathing, different opportunities, different new challenges like breathing. I have to have a thirst to discover what's new. If I were to really frame this problem in technological terms, those handheld things we all hold, what we do, we have lost something. It wasn't so long ago, our whole mantra was, I can't wait to figure out how to do this. Okay. But what's our mantra now? How do I do this? Where did we lose the desire for problem solving? So that's a lifelong learning issue. So yeah, we got to stay up to date with trends, technologies, everything else, and we have to not lose our own desire for problem solving. Next thing that we have to do is seek feedback. Now, we mentioned this earlier, but this is an important one that really needs its own call out here. Feedback is not simply for an echo chamber effect. And that means as we sit and do all these things and seek the feedback, that means we're going to have to be genuinely open. We're going to have to understand we could discover things that have not yet occurred to us through feedback. We might be able to see things different ways. And from all of that feedback, you may learn what are the challenges you need to take on to strengthen a certain skill set or to be seen a certain way or to stay up to date on those trends and technologies that we mentioned. But above all, your job is not to be defensive. Your job is to be constructive and respectful while you're getting this feedback, because we're really looking to learn to sharpen our tool set from that feedback. And yes, it is a little bit of an echo chamber as well. Be proactive. So many people in their career, I can think of one client that I've had a challenge with over the years. Now, on the one side, they're a client that I look at and go, wow, they've managed to move from one absolutely stunning employer to the next absolutely stunning employer to the next absolutely stunning employer. I mean, it's like magic. It just happens. At least that's how it seems to their friends. You know how it really happens? By this person filling up their dance card, going out there and kissing all the different lizards and whatever are out there waiting for them to be met until they find that prince or princess that they're looking for. So, gosh, be proactive, get yourself out there, get yourself involved. If it's in our work looking for the promotion, that means we're looking for problems that have to be solved. We're not just trying to ignore things. It's like that needs attention. Are you waiting for permission? Let's go take corrective steps. We don't have to wait for somebody else. So be creative in finding the solutions. Let's make sure we take action. And all of this will help develop your critical thinking, your engagement, your creativity, and your ability to convey those successes to your boss. That'll go a long way to getting that next promotion. Show enthusiasm. I try to remind folks that when I do these lectures, unlike when I go and talk to audiences, I love to go and talk to in-person audiences and have 60, 100 people or more in the audience, and there's so much wonderful energy, everything else. But here, it's John and the camera. So where does this enthusiasm come from? Passion. There's no one else here to make this excitement happen. So I am passionate about what I do. Are you passionate about what you do? I hope so. It's your work. That means you've got to be positive. You've got to be optimistic. You've got to be optimistic in a way that you never thought possible. I mean, I'm Sagittarius and I don't throw much weight around that stuff, but that means I am optimistic like you wouldn't believe. The sun will come up tomorrow, even if it's a nuclear holocaust, which I hope it's not, but even if it is, sun's coming up tomorrow, no matter what. Show that enthusiasm. This can-do attitude will do an enormous amount to raise your profile, draw that spotlight. I don't know if you can hear all these clues through all the minutia, all the noise, all the distraction, but if you put a little bit of effort down each of these 12 practices, it will help you shine. Everything about your background, everything that you touch, we're trying to highlight it, elevate it, and present it through a lens of one singular question. Why would it be the best business decision they make today if they choose to promote me in this case? And how do we make it happen? So I want you to think about what we need to do here. There's a lot of different things in storytelling, in getting our credit. As you change how you operate and interact with other people, you're going to have to refresh your career story. That means a new take on your resume, a new take on how you tell that story across your LinkedIn profile, and understanding how these two work together. There's a resume renovation lecture and a building your career brand with LinkedIn lecture. You can watch the full 90-minute lectures on those. But it really comes down to this. The resume is the essence and value of your career on a single sheet of paper. The right resume has this reaction. They're going through a whole stack of resumes, droning out. It's like snow blindness or resume blindness. I can't tell anybody apart. And suddenly they go, oh, get them in here. Get them on the phone. I have to speak with them. I don't even know what I'm reacting to here, but there's something here. There's something here. That's the right resume. A little bit of a morsel of the story with the essence of your entire career. Polar opposite to that, though, is the LinkedIn profile, in my view. And that means, how do I take that skeletal system from the resume and transform it into a full three-dimensional sales brochure, all about you, that naturally drives the reader to a singular conclusion? If I promote this person, best business decision I'll make today. Of course, when we're looking to change jobs, that would be the best business decision if I choose to hire this person. But it's really all the same kind of thought process. This is about influencing other people. It's about taking control of the discussion. It's about creating engagement, which is a whole lot closer to that style engagement. Check out my resume renovation lecture to really improve your resume. Understand almost every resume right now is full of text, sentences, paragraphs, everything. There's not a single sentence on a resume that I would create for a client. We have to understand that no one will read any longer. We must distill down to concept communication that can imprint in the brain very quickly. Tune into resume renovation to understand how that part works. Also, check out, here it comes right here, building your career brand with LinkedIn and how to use it for your job search or to elevate your career, get promoted, all those wonderful things. This will teach you how to build a full three-dimensional sales brochure for yourself on the LinkedIn side that will help really outmaneuver those competitors that may be going after that same promotion you are. All of these 12 best practices together are little figurative nudges, coaxing attention, moving things forward for you. Wherever you are, you need to make sure that you are seen as the right thing. More than anything else, you better be seen as their future. That's why you're going to get promoted. So take your first step wherever you are, repeat, and let's get this engine moving. These are the 12 best practices to earn your next promotion. And I really appreciate you guys for joining me today. Take care. Bye-bye.